Guys, it's Fonzie with DipYourCar.com. This is the Dipping Industry DipCast podcast, episode number 30.
Yeah.
I'd say it in other languages, but I just don't know any of them. It is a milestone, kind of. Back when we said, episode 25, you'll get a new chair, I was like, 25 is like years away.
Right.
Because if we do one every week, essentially, it's been 30 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
So...
Yeah, actually, last weekend, I think, or last week, we were all discussing that about how, it seemed like a long time, but it's actually only been since like December or something like that. But a lot happens within 3/4 of a year.
Yeah, a lot. So obviously, it's Fonzie from Dip Your Car. Adam with me as always. Dan over to the side. We've got some stuff to go over today.
Mm-hmm.
So Adam, why don't you kind of give us a little synopsis of what we're going to cover?
Well, we're going to touch base on a couple new things that we have, either videos or upcoming videos about. The new Pearl on the Mustang. Well, not necessarily new Pearl, but new dip job. Teaser. We're also going to talk about those Vossen wheels on that Ferrari, that nice new color, and talk about maybe when that episode is coming out of the DYC TV.
Yeah, it's a good question, actually.
You're finally going to let everybody know what everybody's wanted to know.
The big announcement.
What's the deal with the SQ5 picture?
Oh, God.
And then we have, I think more showcase shoutouts. Not that we picked, but, people just, my email was just popping off with notifications about showcase shoutouts this week. So many people proud of their dip jobs. Bombarded with that stuff. And then we actually have a really special interview with
scheduled with a mystery guest.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's definitely something to be on the edge of your seat about.
Do you have any big announcements for this episode?
Besides the mystery guest,
is that a big announcement?
I think it is. I hope you put like a little silhouette of a face just with a white question mark, right?
Normally I would to support the graphics, but because you asked for it, I'm not going to do it.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Next week I'll put the frame picture there.
What's the first topic?
All right. First topic is actually people are loving this color. I couldn't believe how many likes were on the DYC Facebook page for the Dark Knight Mustang.
Oh, yeah. It's tough to talk about that right now because I don't know if the video is out by the time people are watching this. I'm going to assume that it is. So we might as well chat about it for a moment. And if it isn't, then, whatever.
You get a preview.
Preview. You know what? The Mustang was a really fun one because we've been playing around with pigment loads. And it's funny because it almost feels like in the beginning, we would have started off with light pigment loads when we were playing with everything and then worked into heavier pigment loads as we went. And it's been the total opposite. Right. People started off using 100 grams per gallon. Then, you only need 79. And then, 79. Very precise.
Weird pigment load right there.
I told you, it just went in a weird direction. So 100 and then 75 for color shifts and things like that. And then 50 grams for solid pearls. And then we started playing with lighter pigment loads of 25 grams per gallon. And that was a light pigment load for us. When we did our first car with 25 grams per gallon, which does anyone remember when
I think it was the one with Bora Bora over Flex, right?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, because Peter from KP Pigments was next to me, and I was asking him how much you think we need in order to get a pearl effect, but let the Flex Blue base play a huge role. And 25 was the number. So I've been doing a lot of lab testing with pearls and trying to identify what's the real way to utilize them, get the most out of them. Now, what I was learning, and granted, I don't come from an automotive painting background. So if there's automotive painters out there that are like, well, this is pretty standard information. Well, for you guys it is, but for us, we kind of built this whole new market from the ground up. It didn't exist. So we're learning and testing and playing and figuring out that pearl coats, if you think of pearls, I'm not going to say pearls as a powder, but pearl coats like to be transparent. They like to let light through, and then that light will hit and bounce off of that solid base underneath, and then the light will come back out, and it'll allow that pearl coat to give a pearlescent effect, but without being opaque, so you can still see the base underneath. And that, what it does is it adds depth, a lot of depth, and it adds complexity to the job.
And I remember when you first kind of stumbled upon that, you were doing your research and figured that out, you were so excited to try something with that.
I was super pumped, and we actually did light pigment load testing speed shapes of like 200, all 200 of our pearls.
Wow.
Within Gabe did it, our retail manager, over like a 3-day period, just because it's like, oh my God, we learned pearls all over again.
Right.
And we saw that, the evidence of that, when we did the ocean blue on the Mustang, because it's like, all right, well, when we started and we were listening to everybody else and their feedback and kind of learning together, you take a blue pearl and you put it over a black base, or a blue pearl over a dark blue base, and you think, oh my God, it doesn't have good coverage. You're always thinking coverage. I have a blue pearl and a black car, so I should have an end result that looks like this blue pearl.
Right. I need to blanket that black.
Exactly. We should be aiming to suffocate the black and only see the blue. Well, we went through that. And that's a tough thing, because pearls are essentially transparent. Even if you have 75 grams of a color shift pearl per gallon in your gun, go up to the wall or your test area, shoot it on some cardboard, you're going to see right through it.
Right.
It's not a tint. It's not a paint. It's a pearl. It is translucent by nature. So we've gotten all these years, or year, or however long it's been since we launched Dip Pearls, and we've been going for opaque coverage and gotten awesome results from it. Really, really cool. But then we started to dive deeper and deeper into, where does this light pigment load thing take us? So I thought to myself, I actually texted Gabe one day while I was at retail, and I said, dude, do me a favor. Drop a 5 gram per gallon sample over of hyper black. Or actually, we started with hyper silver over black. And the hyper silver was too much of a contrast. The hyper silver was very, very bright and light, so it looked not like a flake, but it was real. It was not what I was looking for. So I said, you know what? I think Gabe mentioned, what about hyper black? It's much darker. Excuse me. It's not a black pearl, but it has less contrast between a silver pearl and a black base versus a dark metallic. Anyway, where I'm getting at is, we did, and I actually shared that speed shape, but he did 5 grams per gallon of the hyper black graphite pearl over the black base. And what it essentially did is probably what pearls are meant to do this whole time. You saw a black speed shape, but where the light was coming in and out was this gray metallic pearl. And it had so much complexity to it. As you took the speed shape and twisted it around, you see pitch black, you saw bright silver, you saw all these angles, and you saw all these different variances of this one speed shape. If you take a hyper black speed shape, which is just stacked hyper black coats over a black base, there's a solid opaque color.
You have one color.
That's it. Monochrome. This had so much more going on. I'm like, dude, angry color would look awesome on the Mustang. Strip it down, get it ready. Let's do the DYC Mustang in this color. And he was super pumped about it. So that's what we did. We did 3 or 4 coats of black PDS as our base. And then we did 5 grams per gallon, which felt really weird, man. When you're used to dropping 50 in per gallon, and then you drop 5, like a sample bag of 5.
Right.
You're like, what is this even going to do?
Right.
Large scale, it bugs you out a little. But when you look at the product, it's not like a clear gallon with a couple pearl flakes. It still looks like pearly. I mean, if you look at my Instagram at Fonzie DYC, you'll see a recent picture, which is the inside of the bucket with this pearl in it swirling around, and it looks solid. You can't see through it. So at that point, you start to think, man, maybe 5 grams per gallon kind of moves around. Now, as a disclaimer, I'm not saying that every pearl job in the future should be 5 grams per gallon. I'm not saying 50 grams per gallon is wrong. I'm just saying that there's lots of ways to use these pearls.
It's something different.
Yeah, there's a lot of different ways to use these pearls. So with that in mind, we did the 5 grams per gallon, and it looks so nasty, man. I mean, I'm not going to talk too much about it. If you haven't seen it yet, watch the video. We'll try to link it in, which I always forget to do. But the video is out there. Look on our YouTube channel here. Look at the pictures on Facebook. People bugged out when they saw that. They really enjoyed it.
And see, the thing is with the Mustang, it's so cool because over the course of the last couple months, you put pure gold alloy on it, and that was like, oh, that car and that color fit perfectly.
It did.
Then you did burnt copper, and it's like, you can't get any better than that.
Yep.
Right.
And then you went iguana green, and it's like, oh man, that car is meant to be flashy like that. And then you did ocean blue, and you're kind of like,
Dude,
oh,
I love the ocean blue.
Ocean blue looked like it could have been driven off the lot. And then now you put dark night on it, and you're like, yep, that's the one. That car
Nasty.
is mean, nasty,
Man,
angry.
we got so many emails and questions from people about that, and we did something different. We didn't tell people how to do it right away. The first post that went out was, if you want to know how to do it, watch the video. And we don't normally do that, but I wanted to make sure people were aware that this was something different. This isn't like, yo, check out this super dark gray pearl that we have. It's a different approach.
Now, I have a question in regards to this, and I didn't mean to cut you short, but in terms of the approach, do you think it's more difficult or easier to spray, more difficult to spray a light pigment load?
Yeah.
Yeah? All right. Just because that is something that we kind of mentioned, that just because it's a balance of, you don't want the pearl to build up in certain sections. And
no, that's the thing. It's like when you're going to try to go for full opaque coverage, you just stack it until you're done. Stack it until you can't see the base.
Right.
With this, it is more difficult because you're trying to create an even dispersion of pearl across the car without blacking, or without, I want to say blacking out, which would be relevant, but it's confusing, without suffocating the base, without blocking out the base. And Gabe and I looked at each other after the third coat, and we're like, is this it? Are we done?
Right.
And we both looked at each other like, we don't want any more pearl on this car. We see plenty of black showing through. When you look at the sharp angles and the light's not coming down on it, it looks black. You see the base, and when the light's coming through, you see the gray, the metallic gray. And we're like, we don't want more pearl.
Right.
This is it. And that was enough. And we didn't put any gloss coats on it, because when you have such a low pigment load, the DYC top coat is high gloss by nature. When you put 50 grams, 75 grams a gallon in, now you're going to be muting it down and dulling it down.
Right.
But with 5 grams per gallon, it looks like there's gloss coats on top, and there's not.
Yeah.
So you got to kind of weigh that. The point was this. I wanted to approach it differently. I wanted to deliver the project differently, because I want people to wake up a little bit. I think that sometimes we get in complacent little vibes where it's like, all right, here's the system, 50 grams a gallon, stack it over your base, don't know what the base is anymore. People have to remember, oh, man, let me try something new.
Always
let me
evolving.
see what happens. Yeah. And, you do this with color shifts, too. You'd be very surprised. Look at the Iris Violet.
And the Atlantic.
Atlantic, too. Yeah, that was, I think, 25 per gallon.
I think you're right. Yeah, 50 total. Yep.
And the Iris Violet as well. The Iris Violet on the A4 looks way different. Now, granted, it's top coat before it was the 50/50. But, man, when you see that base showing through. Pearls are translucent, man. You can use them a million different ways. But make sure you play with them. That's all I'm going to say.
Right. And that's definitely something we've been laying out there for people that'll call about the 2 projects that you did on the Porsche.
Sure. Oh yeah, that's another great example. The Firestorm.
Right, Firestorm.
Perfect example.
And the Bora Bora were like, hey, it's more of an advanced job. Be careful what you're trying to bite off. But if you can pull that off, that's a great.
Yeah. Well, I don't remember what the pigment load was on the
5 and
Firestorm.
5.
Yeah,
Komodo.
10 grams per gallon.
Right.
See what I'm saying? We're going in the opposite direction. We're starting to learn, like, all right, well, if that's what 10 grams per gallon does, what does 5 do? And if you look at the Porsche, it's a flame red car. But when the light hits it, you were just looking at it,
and
it
blows me away.
Nuts.
It's really cool because certain angles, orange, red, gold, yellows, really crazy. This seems like a topic we could probably talk about for another 25-30 minutes, but probably can use that for another episode if there's even more things that we want to touch base about that. Let's move on to people we're really excited to see, and we talked a little bit about it last week about those Vossen wheels now on the Ferrari.
Yeah.
And when that third installment of that video is coming out.
You know what? I want to say I have a date, but I don't. Here's the deal: we filmed the third episode. The wheels are on the car. They look outstanding. I mean, they look really good. I freaking love the color combo.
Right.
And I'll just say this: Vosson's media team, came in. Did we talk about
We
this already?
talked. We talked about this last week.
All right. Well, they did a great job on filming the third episode, and I've seen a rough cut of the third episode, and it's awesome. I mean, it's really freaking cool. It tells a story about dipping your wheels. There's a tutorial and instructional piece to it, and then the end result. And Vosson's quality is always through the roof on what they do from a video point of view. Their team is very talented, but we wanted to share the picture with you. Now, I know that the final result should be done, but here was the caveat. We wanted to launch episode 3 on DipYourCar's YouTube channel and Vosson's YouTube channel at the same time. And it's a very large file. So I think they were shipping me or dropping off, because they're kind of local, a flash drive with that file on it, so that we can kind of launch simultaneously. And that might be the holdup, but freaking pumped to get that out already.
Yeah, and it's awesome. Cool because this third installment is going to be more geared to the people that may be watching this episode of the DipCast. You know, obviously, you know, car guys are car guys, and regardless, you know, any type of mods or anything like that, they're going to be interested in. But this is a DipCast, so they're going to be getting the background on dipping those and installing those onto the car. So that should be exciting. This is the coup de grace.
Yes. Yes.
So that's that, and then I think the next topic that we're going to talk
just for safety's sake, I wasn't paying attention when he just said whatever the coup de grace is. So, as a disclaimer, I'm not sure what that meant.
I got a round of applause from Dan, so that's all that matters.
No, I'm sure it was fine.
And then next topic is everybody wants to know.
Oh God,
what's the deal with the SQ5? I mean, you had that picture. I mean, it literally looks like it was floating above the ground right there, and people wanted to know if you were doing testing, of, you know, what the heck was going on.
What kind of testing?
Durability, I don't know. Hey, let me just roll this thing, see what happens.
Yeah. So basically, I almost rolled over in my SUV, really close. And what basically happened was, I was looking at something. I had a meeting basically up in Clewiston, which is a very rural area of Florida. I mean, not a lot going on out there. And I was going down a 1-lane road. I was following a guy in a very large pickup truck. Remember, 1-lane road. We're going pretty quick, you know, 50, 60 miles an hour. He starts slowing down. The place we're looking for obviously snuck up on him. So he starts slowing down very quickly and decides to make a very quick right into the grass. Well, because it's such a large truck and the technique of his maneuver may not have been the safest thing, it's the nicest way I can say that. I had no options. I have 2 options. I can either plow into his truck, or I can make a right and get into the grass before he does, because, you know, the whole physics thing, can't occupy the same space at the same time. So I had to be somewhere other than inside his truck. There. Somebody said that to me the other day, and for some reason it stuck in my head.
What, dropping knowledge, or
no, the physics thing. So I made a very quick right, hit the brakes really hard, and what we didn't know is in that grass area, there's a little driveway in front of the property. That's where he was. There was none left after that. So there's tall grass. Behind the tall grass is a 4-foot drop, and a canal. So the SQ5 went over the little grassy area. The front wheel went completely off the ledge and is now hanging over this. And then the car decided to tilt. So the back wheel is about 3 feet off the ground. The front wheel is now in this ditch. I thought we were going to roll because what happened was the car went over and then rolled all the way up. And then we were almost perpendicular. And then it just creeped back a bit.
Right. And just to make this clear, when you say we, luckily baby Enzo was not in the vehicle.
No, I had a buddy with me who's a realtor.
Because I know some people were asking about that too.
Yeah, no, thank God. And because it rolled so violently that, I mean, my cell phone flew up and hit the window. My keys were in the cup holder. They ended up on the window. I mean, everything went and got tossed that way.
Mm-hmm.
So then we rolled back over this way. And I remember holding on to the wheel and realizing that we weren't going to roll, but we were teetering.
Mm-hmm.
We kept going back and forth. And I just looked over at my buddy and I just said, don't move at all. And he's like, well, what do you want me to do? I'm like, just don't even move
Mm-hmm.
a little bit. Let's just see how this settles.
Right.
So we sat there in an awkward silence for about 30 seconds and realized we weren't going to slide or roll or anything. So we had to get him out
Mm-hmm.
because him in the front passenger seat was what was tipping us in. So he climbed over my seat out the door. And I thought that was going to pull us back. It didn't do anything.
I was gonna say, how heavy was this guy?
I don't know, not heavy enough, but you'd think you'd take 170 pounds or whatever out of the front right seat. At least we're gonna tilt a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Nothing at all. I totally misjudged the physics. So that didn't happen. So I figure, all right, well, if I get out, hopefully that won't be the one thing that's keeping us from going. So I got out.
Why? How much do you weigh?
Well, I'm just saying, you never know how these things are gonna go. So I slowly got out and then closed the door.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, it tilted and came back, and it was just hovering there. I guarantee you, though, I could have let's say this, any average man could have just deadlifted the car into the canal.
Mm-hmm.
It was that tipsy.
So how did you get it out?
We had to call a tow truck.
Oh, really?
And the guy came, and we hooked the little hook to the suspension, or burned my arm on the exhaust, and then he pulled the thing out, and it was perfectly fine. I mean, you can't even find a scratch on the
No,
dip.
absolutely.
I thought the suspension was going to be screwed up. I thought the front bumper for sure was going to be mangled. But we got off. There were some ants on the car, if you want to count the damages. But after we brushed those off, I mean, there was literally nothing wrong with it, and we just drove back. And that was that.
Story to be told.
I think you find the humor in things that don't go terribly wrong,
right?
And you just kind of feel a little bit lucky there.
Absolutely.
So that's where we're at.
All right. Well, after that, like somber note.
It's not somber. Nothing bad.
Well, I guess it's not somber because nothing bad happened. You're right. Well, after that note.
Oh my god.
Mediocre note. We're gonna move on to a much higher note. Showcase shoutouts.
I thought it was inspiring. I thought it was a brave tale. I mean,
brave tale.
We didn't end up going.
Really, you're really selling yourself.
Okay, let's not say brave. Let's say it was.
It was a tale. It was a tale.
It had a positive vibe to it. We didn't go in.
Yeah. Okay, so
if we would have tipped over, we would have been in the canal, and it would have been a hairy situation.
Somber's not the right word.
No, it wasn't. I mean,
a tale.
It was an adventure.
Yeah, it was an adventure. Yeah. Harrowing adventure?
No.
You guys and your adjectives.
But at least they're along for the ride.
It happened. We talked about it.
Did you get that pun?
So anyway, what's the next thing?
I've always wanted to do that.
I'm gonna turn your mic off.
I already said show.
Now,
I already said showcase shoutouts.
Is that where we're at?
That's where we're at.
All right. So what we're doing is, you guys now. Dan has the showcase shoutouts in front of him, so he knows what we're gonna go over in case he wants to make any really detailed. Comments.
I just want to be on the same page. That's all.
Yeah, exactly.
See, I was sick of looking at.
I emailed it to you too.
Yeah, I know.
Does your phone get email?
Oh,
iPhone 3. Okay, so we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't know.
Yeah.
Lost count. Okay, we got 9 showcase shoutouts. We're gonna rip through them.
Yeah, that's I think the most we've ever had, right?
I have no idea.
All right.
Absolutely no idea. First one. Man, very, very sharp. I like this one a lot. This is from our buddy Josh Carter. This is a custom orange Scion TC, I believe, with a gloss black hood.
Mm-hmm.
And what he did, and this guy's been around a long time. He knows dipping. Mm-hmm. He knows equipment. He's upgraded his stuff. He's using higher end equipment to get it done. DYC Dip Pearl top coat with the pearls on the body of the car. And then on the hood, black PDS base, DYC Dip Pearl top coat with black PD tint, I believe, into the top coat, making a single stage gloss. And the hood is nasty.
Yeah.
The hood
absolutely.
is nasty, man.
Absolutely.
I actually, when he showed it to me, the first thing I said, I think I said this, or I thought it was like, why didn't you do the hood?
Right.
And he gave me the listing of what it was, and you look at that and you're like, all right, man, that's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's awesome. That is really cool. High gloss, clear, crisp reflection. Everyone asked me. Actually, you know what? This was the catalyst of a lot of questions.
Yeah.
Which is cool. He should feel good about that because he started stirring stuff up. He
Right.
stirred the pot with this one. People were asking me, how come you haven't done a video yet of using tint? And you asked me this.
Right.
Tint in DYC top coat. And the reason why we haven't done it yet is because we wanted to take it step by step. We didn't want to say, here's everything and here's how to do everything. We wanted to take it little by little. All right, here's how you do, here's how you use it for pearls.
Mhm.
Here's how you use it for pearls with a gloss top coat. And we've been trying to figure out what we want to do as far as the first one, the first car that's actually a PD base, and then tint into the top coat for a single stage gloss around it. So very cool. Josh Carter knocked this one out of the park. You should be really proud of that one. Next one, our boy Bobby. He had a Mustang. The reason why this one is cool is a couple reasons. One is it's you following along, Dan?
I am.
Okay, good. He's got a stencil design here, hood, roof, and I think something in the back. And he used the Go Mango, the
Mhm.
new DY
Right.
PDS muscle car colors, classic muscle. Go Mango on his black Mustang. I think he's got aftermarket wheels on there too, and it looks like it's sitting down pretty low. So very, very cool Mustang. Bobby should be happy with that one, man. It looks from the pictures, and I saw several of them, that he did very clean lines. And as you guys know, when you're doing stenciling or anything like that, you got to pull the tape up when the dip is still wet, and it looks like you got that technique down pat.
Absolutely.
It's a very unique look. I like it.
Yeah.
Oh.
It's. I liked that these two dip jobs, the last two showcase shoutouts, were very unique or kind of set apart for the design, not necessarily just like the pearl or the mix or anything like that, but the actual design on the vehicle.
And the next one showcase shout out is it doesn't seem like a person, Evoluto Imperial. Somebody's responsible for it, but that's who posted it. It's a Hudson Hornet.
Oh yeah,
Old school car.
That's right up my
Gangster
alley.
car. Is it?
Yeah, absolutely.
How is that up your alley?
I love the classics. I love.
What?
Yeah, absolutely.
Did you know that?
He watches Mad Men.
Oh.
That's what you're using as a reference?
I mean, he wants to be Don Draper or whatever his name is.
I don't know who that is, but I believe it. Oh, boy. So do you want to talk about this one then?
No, I'm just saying I love the Mercedes, the Jaguars. When that question came in the 1 week where what's your dream car? I said I'm not a huge car guy, but I like that classic vibe, and that's got the mob mentality vibe. That's got the classic.
It does have the mob mentality
just
vibe.
You expect a guy to jump out of that with a Tommy gun and just start hacking away.
Very, very cool. This one's awesome. It's a satin black. I don't know exactly what product to use to get it. My suggestion for satin black is always going to be black base and then a 50-50 mix of black PDS and dip pearl top coat.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to get you a nice, crisp, beautiful, deep satin black. But this one's cool, man. I mean, these bodies on these cars are not easy to dip.
Right.
That body line along the side, to get in that and wet that out without getting texture or overspray up or down, above or below it, not easy. And a lot of these old cars, we found that out when we did that pickup truck.
Right.
They have these really weird rubber seals that kind of like repel plastic dip, almost like a silicone. So you got to be careful on that as well. So that one's really sweet. Next one, unique little dip from our boy Jonathan. His radio flyer, his daughter's radio flyer, which is sitting low, looks modded. RL71 on that. She looks super happy. It's cool when you see stuff like that.
Right, absolutely.
A wagon or Power Wheels or something. Not only so you can be interactive with your kid and be like, hey, you want to change the color? Do you think it looks good? But just different projects, man.
And I always see, it seems like kids really enjoy peeling dip.
Yeah, they do.
I mean,
yeah.
I've
a
seen
lot of adults enjoy peeling dip. The next one, our longtime buddy of ours, Rob Kitts. He's been a customer, fan, supporter of DYC for a long time. Very interactive guy, and he's been working on this one for a long time. This is his WRX STI, and it's got a lot going on it. It's got a PDS blurple base, and then he's got HKS pearls on there and RL71 in the top coat on top of the pearl, and then another top coat on top. So it's blurple, HKS in top coat, RL71 in top coat, and then top coat on top.
And he was doing
is
light
gloss.
pigment loads too.
Yes, he was.
And you can see, I mean, just if he did a walk around video, those pearls, and he had sent me this a couple days ahead of time because he was super excited to share it, but he didn't want to post it yet. Crazy how much those pearls pop and dance in the sunlight.
Very cool. And yeah, and the RL71 in the light load is creating almost a metallic flake effect, which is awesome. Get that sparkle. So very cool job, Rob. Rhyme not intended. Next one, Adam. Dan, did you want to discuss this one?
No, I think you got it.
Okay. This is a sapphire blue mixed into black and blue PDS. It's kind of like, didn't we did this on the Evo?
Yes.
I think we did this exact thing.
Easy blue pearl mixture. Yes.
Yeah, sapphire blue directly into black and blue, right? Awesome. It's such a single stage. I don't want to say like I don't want to use the word like no brainer, because you can still screw up any dip job. You have to pay attention, have the, really try and put effort into it. But it's awesome. It's turnkey. Boom. That's the word I was looking for. You throw down your black and blue base, 3-4 coats of it, solid coverage, easy coverage, and then you throw the sapphire blue right into the black and blue, and now you have a beautiful pearlescent, flat, smooth, end result. And the pearls in the PDS usually make it feel nice and slick and smooth and hard. I really like this one.
I'm sorry, but that's actually, I've fielded 5 or 6 calls in the past week of people wanting to do that mix. Put a plastic dip base and then mix pearls directly into the PDS. And it was one of those things where Dip Pearl Top Coat came out soon after we did a couple of those. We did the Hunter Green with the Nebula Green, and we did this Sapphire and Black and Blue. And it was just one of those things where I'm like, man, I know the Dip Pearl Top Coat looks so good, but I just want to see more of those combinations.
We want to see more of anything that's different.
Yeah.
And as a bonus, a 50-50 mix of black and pearlizer on the wheels. Very, very cool on that. It gives like a very metallic anthracite kind of look to it. Next one, Chad Clausen, another guy who's been around for a really long time. He's kind of come up in the community and worked his way up and done a lot of cool dips. And this guy's very active as well. And this, I believe, is the Iron Man mix. This is a red PDS base with Komodo color shift on top, which creates that really cool. If you guys haven't seen the Iron Man yet, check out this picture obviously, as well as we have a video where we did the Iron Man on the S8, and it just creates this awesome battling combination of reds, coppers, golds, oranges, and they all kind of go back and forth. And this one was just executed really well. The wheels on the car fit. It's the stance is nice. Everything fits. It's just a nice package altogether.
And it's funny because somebody had commented, I think when he posted that, or when somebody was asking about it, and it was one of those, you see so many of them. You see so many of them on the community and Anonymous. You drive around your neighborhood or your state even, you're lucky to see one. So it's just because we're all in it, that you think like, oh, that's a car I've seen before. No, you've seen pictures of it, but how many people can say they've seen it in person? And that's why I love the flame red that we did on the Porsches.
Because, badass.
Yeah, or Firestorm, because it just looks it looked good. It looked close, but it was like a weird spin off of the Iron Man.
Yes. 2 more. Chris Buckle did a custom pearl on, it looks to be an A4. Really cool job. I mean, I like this one because I know we had to work through some challenges on it, and he just pushed all the way through it and got it done, got it looking the way he wanted to. And I believe that's burnt copper alloy on the pearls, or on the wheels as well, which is a cool combo because there's some copper playing off that color on the car. And then the last one, really cool, unique. This is a 280Z dipped in a light anthracite base with a custom pearl made from a bunch of different stuff. with DYC top coat used for the pearl coats and a little bit of a semi-gloss finish on top. And I know guys like Jared and our media managers, guys like that love cars like this. This is going to stick out like a sore thumb to some people, and they're going to be in love with it. But Ray did this one, and it looks so cool, man.
Yeah, it does.
Different. I mean, this one's it's custom from the ground up. The car is different. The base is different. The pearls are different.
Mhm.
Everything about this one. This is a type of dude, especially if you own that car, you can tell he's the type of guy who's like, I'm not going to have anything that anybody else has.
Right.
I'm going to do
Right.
my own thing, and that's it. And it was worth it.
Absolutely. Yeah, that turned out great.
What else we got?
I think that was it, and so I think that we're going to turn it over to our interview. This was actually kind of requested on Dippers Anonymous. Somebody had asked, kind of a random question, and I tagged Dan in it, but he kept the people on the edge of their seat, and I think it was because he knew we were going to talk about it tonight, and he's aspiring to be on the showcase shoutouts, eventually. But people want to know, Dan, when exactly is this dip job going down on the Aveo?
I don't have a definite date right now. It's just about having an open space at the retail center so I can actually do it. And, Fonzie's always in there testing and things like that. And obviously, we all work. So I think it's just finding the time. I already know what I want to do. I already know,
What are you
what
doing?
I need
You
to
want to
do.
let the people know what
I'm
you're
going to
doing?
do camo tan on the Aveo. So it's going from blue to camo tan.
Okay. And any specific wheel color? Or are you going to leave the wheel stock?
Do you know what? I'm not sure. I may do the wheels in black, but it depends. It depends on how much time I have to do it, and how much prep time. Because without doing the wheels, I'd probably save some time.
Yeah. And I know Gabe. You want Gabe there to assist you, or are you going to handle this?
I mean, I don't want to take up his time. I know he's really busy at retail, so I'd like to do everything myself. But yeah, I'll reach out to him if I need his help.
I like that.
Why don't you go there with him?
Have
you ever dipped a car before?
I have not. And
wouldn't
people,
this be a perfect example or opportunity for
well,
you
I think
to
watching Dan.
strapping men?
No offense, Dan, but I think watching Dan live is not the perfect platform.
But you guys can figure it out together. Who better to have in the room while you're dipping for the first time than one of our lead customer service techs?
Probably
Who
the
better?
person that
No, I agree
probably
with
the
you.
person that started
Don't
the
deflect.
company.
Don't deflect.
I mean, I'll be there. Hey,
No,
Hey,
I wouldn't want Fonzie there. I wouldn't want you there. No offense.
you've already told me you don't
Yeah,
want me
I
there.
don't
That's
want
why
you
I
there.
said Adam.
Because I know you're gonna be like, wait, you got to do this.
that is
you gotta do
Fonzie.
that.
That is
Yeah.
Fonzie. Keep standing back. No, that's all wrong. That's all wrong.
Well, if it is wrong, I'm going to tell you.
Exactly.
So I will bow out of that, and then you can back him up and be his support line, and you guys can go. It'll be a great exercise.
Well, my
Mhm.
future brother-in-law, he had dipped his wheels a couple weekends ago
Mhm.
because his family was out visiting, and his dad was super excited to help him watch. And he said the entire time my dad was standing over my shoulder going, "That's not what Fonzie would do." That's not what Fonzie. So that's what I'll be doing to you.
I'll
Fonzie
probably,
wouldn't be
yeah, I was
doing
gonna
that.
say I'd probably hear that about 20 times.
You guys will knock it out super quick. Open and close.
DipCon.
Get it done. Live feed for people to
I'm
watch.
cool. Dip of the month.
We'll get it done. Is that it for today?
That's it.
That's
Hashtag
it.
DipCon 2015.
Still working on a date for that.
Yeah, I know.
October 10th might not be it. We're still working on it.
But,
It's permits. It's all about the permits.
Right.
So unless you can help me with that, we're gonna have to wait for the city.
I'm too busy dipping cars, bro.
No, we'll see what happens. All right, we will check you on the next episode.